in Whitby, which is where I come from, in Yorkshire. It's a seaside village. And we went on holiday with two friends who are not Catholic, so we couldn't pray the rosary in the car. You know, we couldn't do our normal prayers. We had to keep them to ourselves. So we went in this shop this day, and there were shopaholics. They were looking around the shop, and somebody, my wife said, they've got Aran jump now. I don't know if you've heard of Aran jumpers. They're made in Scotland. Very thick, very warm, but very expensive. And my wife said, look at these Aran jumpers. And I said, I'd love one like that. And I picked it up and I looked at it, and it had a lovely pattern on the front. I said, but I can't afford it. It was £45. I said, I can't afford that. Now Margaret and I were praying our rosary, walking around this shop. This is what we do. We're walking around the shop praying our rosary, keeping away from our friends so they didn't hear us. And we're walking around praying our rosary, and I said to Margaret, I would love one of them. I said, but I can't afford it. Now nobody knew, apart from Margaret, myself and Our Lady, that I'd like that jumper, that Aran jumper. We got home after our holiday, and I was getting ready to come to Medjugorje, and a lady from Glasgow phoned me, and she said, are you coming out next week? I said, of course. She said, are you bringing a jumper? I said, yes. She said, well, don't, I've got one for you. And she said, and I've got one for the priest as well. And I said, oh, fine, great. So I didn't bring a jumper. And when we got here, she worked in a factory that makes the jumpers. When we got here and she gave me the jumper, it was the exact same jumper as I'd said to my wife, I would like one of them. Our Lady knew, and she got in contact with the girl, and the girl gave me one for nothing.
What a story.
Fantastic. But that's what happens. It's just a thing. You've got to have faith. You've got to believe in what you're talking about. And sometimes you'll get people that will try and knock you down, but that's their problem. You know, we know that we're on the right track. We've had too much happen to let anybody disturb us. You know, everything happens for a reason. And I mean, my wife's been ill for 3 years, but we shouldn't have been here. I cancelled the trip for myself and my wife, and head office wouldn't take our name off the list. No, I mean, normally they'd have been glad to take our names off to give 2 people the seats, but they didn't. And here we are.
And I meet you at the end of the trip, by coincidence.
We go here, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Your daughter.
Because we've not been out, because we can't go far, because Margaret can't walk, so we've not been very often down the village, you know. But things are amazing. So we'll see what happens next year. You know, we never say never, but it's a place that people must come for themselves, Tom. They must come and see for themselves. That's what Father Slavko always said, and he made a video the same. He went, come and see. And that's what you have to do. You have to come for yourself. You can't go back and tell other people to come, because they'll just don't give me that. Even the priest, the minute you say to your parish priest, Father, you must go to Medjugorje, the barriers will go up, and he doesn't want to know. You've got to let them make their own mind up. Took my parish priest 8 years to get him to come. And he came. I said, Father, just go on your own, make a retreat and see what you think. And he came, and he liked it that much. He brought a group the following year. Now it was 8 years I didn't nag him. I just kept giving him little bits of information, little books that we got. We used to get books printed, leaflets, and just kept handing them to him, and he came. And that's what you got to do. You got to break down people's resistance. Our Lady's good at helping you. She's really good. But it's been fantastic. 31 years I've been coming, and it's every trip's different. The groups are different, but the graces are the same. You know, people come back and say, Medjugorje's changed. I said, but the graces are the same. Our Lady doesn't change. The graces don't change. And if you want the graces, I can't get them for you. If you want the graces, come and get them yourself.
How do you get the graces? What would you tell the people now?
Just to come and follow the program. You know, if you're not in it, you can't win it. You've got to come, follow the program, do what Our Lady asks, do the hills. I mean, I climbed that hill. I've not done that hill for must be 6-7 years, and I flew up it. The other day, no problem. I wasn't even out of breath, no sweat, right to the top and back down, no problem. Do that, go to the Mass, obviously, which is the main thing, and there's plenty of talks, but as long as the main thing is the Mass and praying your rosary. We always get our group to pray a rosary together. You know, we do it on the coach so they can't escape. You know, they're a captive audience, and that's what we do. We do it on the coach. But no, they're all coming together. Brilliant, lovely. They're a lovely group.
Wow.
You know, but that's the way to get the grace. Just follow the you've got a set program for every group that comes. If you've got a guide like we've got Slavica, you've got a set program. Just follow the program. You don't need to be too holy. Just go and do what's asked of you, and things will change. Things will change, Tom.
Wow.
There's nowhere like it in the world. For the difference is between, I mean, people say, oh, we go to Luz, we go to Garabandal. I said, that's fine, but they're all shrines of the past. That doesn't mean that they're any less important. It does mean that the world never listened to them. If the world had listened to Garabandal, Medjugorje wouldn't have been necessary. Our Lady appeared in Garabandal in Spain in the 60s, and the church rejected it. If they hadn't, this place wouldn't have been necessary. We'd have all been converted away back in the 60s. But the world turned its back on Garabandal, and so Our Lady waited 20 years and then started again out here. Instead of saying, in the beginning she only appeared to, like in Rwanda, Kiebo and all these other places, she appeared to one person. Garabandal, she did 3, and she must have thought, I'm not going to get caught out again, I'll do 6, I'll double up my efforts. So she appeared to 6 people, you know, and she's doubling up her efforts all the time to try and make people listen. And that's all it is. It's just she just wants people to come back to the church, and doing that will change your whole lifestyle. It's amazing.
Yes,
you
it
know?
changed mine.
Yeah, it changes your life, you know, and it's for the better, because you meet lots of lovely people. I mean, we've got friends now all over the world, and we could go all over the world, but I mean, obviously we're getting a bit too old to travel like that, but we still keep in touch with the ones we came with 30 years ago. Still keep in touch with people, and I met some of them just Tuesday. I met them in one of the cafes. They were with me in 1994. You know, we just still all keep in touch. It's just a wonderful network. Yeah, that's the word, a network, and it keeps us all together, keeps us all in touch with each other, and we can help each other through phone calls, through talk. It's just amazing.
And what do you think the future will hold for Medjugorje, maybe even the world?
Well, Our Lady said that the sign will happen here. She's also said it would happen in Garabandal, but whether or not it does, it definitely will be here. It'll definitely be here, you know, and I don't worry too much about signs and wonders anymore. I mean, in the early days, yes, you watched the sun bouncing about, spinning. The moon used to dance.
Wow.
In the 70s, the moon used to bounce up and down like a yo-yo. It was incredible. Yeah, it was absolutely. The signs and wonders then were brilliant, but I've had plenty of that now. I don't need to be convinced anymore. So now I enjoy watching other people being converted, you know. And I've got plenty of experience. If they see something they're not sure of, I say, right, tell me about it. Like we had a couple here who came for the second time and everything went wrong. They wanted to go home. And I said, listen, that happens. I said, I've been with groups, and as soon as I got to the airport, I said, I wish I hadn't come, because people were moaning, and you know, you always get moaners. But at the end of the week, we're all big one family again, you know. But you get that. So I sat down with them for about 2 hours and explained how you can get that way where everything goes wrong. I said, but you've just got to overcome it. And end of the week, they were fine.
And what would you tell people now? You see the uncertain times all around us. How can they get through all this maybe difficult period?
The only way we're going to get through this, Tom, is turning back to our faith, because nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows. There's plenty of people, there's plenty of doom and gloom merchants that say, 3 days of darkness is coming and this is going to happen. Nobody knows, and I don't believe any of it. The way I look at it is this: we've come here on Our Lady's invitation, so we are in Our Lady's army. Now, if there's trouble, who's going to know what's happening first? The army. We're in Our Lady's army. We're in the front line. So no matter what people tell me, I say, look, if something drastic's going to happen, Our Lady's going to let us know. I've been in contact with her for so many years now. I say, I just rely on her totally and completely. You know, the future, if it was something dreadful, she would let us know, and the visionaries would never have had children. They would never have had children if the future was so bad. So it's not that bad. So whatever's coming, it can be overcome by prayer. Our Lady's already said that. There's a lot of things have been averted through the power of prayer. And I just leave myself in Our Lady's hands. I say, if something dreadful is going to happen, the first people to know is us in Our Lady's army. And all of us that have been here, no matter whether they came willingly or whether they came grudgingly, somebody brought them, they'll all get graces that they'll go home with, and believe it or not, they'll be the first to know if anything happens. And that's the way I look at it. I don't care what happens in the world, whatever happens. Our Lady's warned me many a time. She warned me when my best friend died, and she warned me when my brother-in-law died. I was praying, he died, I think 2011, and I was praying for him in my rosary, as I do for people that are ill. He had cancer, and I was praying for him, and I said, Mother, I said, if it's God's will, I would like Stevie to recover. And she said, Stevie's time on earth is finished, and his family are waiting for him. That was it. That's all she told me. And a couple
people would like to know, how to be in contact like you with Our Lady. How do they get in contact?
It's focus and believing. The more you talk to Our Lady, she won't ignore you. You'll get what they call interlocution. Now, I don't know if you've heard of some of the visionaries that never went back on the first day because the mothers wouldn't let them, but they still believed, so they got like Yelena, they get interlocution. Now, I remember saying to my wife in church, interlocution, I says, how can you hear something here when your ears are here? And my wife said, when it happens you'll know. And I was in church one day and I was praying and I heard the inner voice. I went, I know exactly now what the difference now. So now you don't need to doubt yourself and say, did I hear that? Because you don't hear it here, you hear it in here. And it's a strange thing, but it works. And Our Lady, all you have to do is keep praying the rosary. And Our Lady said a wonderful thing to me years ago. I did a talk in Dundee, which is in the north of Scotland, and I was a wee bit dubious because there was 5 priests and a Monsignor, and it was a St. Vincent de Paul annual dinner, and I was a guest speaker, and I was terrified. And I went in to get changed. I used to go in and lay out all my bits and pieces,